Welcome to Coruzant Technologies, home of the Digital Executive Podcast. Welcome to the Digital Executive. Today's guest is Jason Fletcher. Jason Fletcher, founder and CEO of Dev Pipeline, has over 30 years of software development experience, entrepreneurial success, investing, and technical team building. A self-proclaimed family man, serial entrepreneur, educator, and creator with a successful track record in technology-based ventures, Jason is dedicated to giving back and creating passion in others. Well, good afternoon, Jason. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, Brian. I appreciate it.
Awesome, man. This is great. Love Jumping On podcast is part of, my business, and what I do every day is probably the most exciting piece of this. And you'll hear this from anybody you've talked to, but I'm really jazzed. I got the goosebumps going, especially, I started out as a developer, Jason. So we're going to really jump into these questions, and I think your responses are going to truly not only resonate with me, but with our global audience. So thank you. So Jason, first question, you've got quite that background in technology, software development, founder of several companies and organizations, including Dev Pipeline, which we're going to talk a little bit about. Could you share with our audience what drives you and what's contributed to your success?
Sure. Great question. Certainly, my own love of learning is a driving factor. And I was a kid with ADD, and back before they knew what ADD was, I struggled in school. I was able to learn very quickly, but there was seemingly endless writing assignments and busy work that caused my grades to suffer, and frankly gave me a bad taste for traditional learning. And it wasn't until years later that I really realized how much I really loved learning. Before the internet, I would spend hours in the library pulling books on every interesting subject, and I had to get over my apprehensions about education and kind of see it in a different way. The information age has really brought self-learning to the forefront and provided innumerable opportunities for us to learn about just about anything we want. So I also learned early in my career that job satisfaction didn't come from money or compensation or whether there was a ping pong table in the office. It really came more from having a sense of purpose in my job, having opportunities to learn and grow, and having some sense of autonomy. And another driving factor for me is the desire to help others improve their situations. If we can truly connect with others and let them know how valuable they are, help them build valuable skills, and connect them with opportunities that can improve their lives, that's what excites me every day.
That's awesome. I appreciate you sharing that. And I can hear it in your voice. And like we just talked about, what I get excited about, I can feel through the microphone, through the headset here, your passion and desire to help others and love what you do. So thank you. Jason, let's jump into number two. As you know, everybody globally has had to make major shifts to adapt to this new normal in the pandemic, right? So could you share with us what you're doing to help your organization stay relevant in this economy?
So Dev Pipeline was actually launched during the pandemic. Maybe that was a bad idea. That remains to be seen. But what we're trying to accomplish is more relevant than ever. The new normal has brought some pretty major changes, not just to retail businesses or the increase of working from home, but on a very individual level. Hundreds of thousands of people have lost their jobs, and many of them have no prospect of being able to go back to those jobs. So there are a lot of people who are investing in career changes, deciding to go to a tech school or development boot camp and paying hundreds or sometimes thousands of dollars in training. And yet there remains a gap between that education and being able to find a job, especially during these difficult times. So we're trying to bridge that gap through structured and deliberate mentoring and real world projects. And we're hoping to bring fundamental changes to companies and organizations to help them develop tech talent internally rather than through poaching or recruiting. So we're offering apprenticeships sponsored by the Department of Labor and Department of Workforce Services to directly address issues of unemployment, assist in skill development for those looking to make meaningful career changes, and provide access to jobs that require more experience. We're also partnering with other nonprofits across the country that are focused on helping people get back to work and build lasting careers. We love partnering with companies that are looking for development work at a reasonable cost. Every project that we do pairs a mentor with one or more apprentices and is invaluable to our learning process. And these mentors are so important. We have mentors all over the world who are willing to donate their time to share their experiences and knowledge. And we're always looking for good mentors.
That's amazing. I appreciate you doing that. And I think your idea is certainly going to take off like wildfire. And I mean that because, as a technology leader over the years, I had a lot of resumes come across my desk and it was just purely education. And sure enough, if you had the experience, I was always looking at the experience first. So what you're doing is amazing. And I thank you for it. So Jason, my technology background was really kicking in. I just want to know, are you leveraging any new or emerging technologies in your business or tech stack? And if not, maybe it's a particular app you could share with us that maybe you found pretty useful.
Sure. Yeah, I love to give props to companies that I think are doing great things. There's a couple that come to mind for our project and task management. We're using a product called ClickUp. It's really a tech-forward app that's constantly improving. I think I get a new email every week about new features that are coming out. It handles all of our development backlog and sprints, our markdown documents, and there's lots of useful integrations, most of which we haven't even had time to get through. And then probably the second thing would be, due to our focus on continuing education within our team, we utilize a lot of online learning platforms, including Udacity, Coursera, and edX. And I'm particularly fond of edX and Coursera due to their relationships with educational institutions like Harvard, MIT, Stanford, Boston University, because these programs, they offer not only certificate programs, but micro degrees and even access to online bachelor's and master's degrees, sometimes at a fraction of the cost. Yeah, I would definitely recommend those. How's that for free advertising?
Absolutely. It's amazing. And a lot of people are going to hear about the app, whether they've heard about it or not, they're going to hear it on this show. So thank you, Jason. Jason, last question. This is the big one. Everybody wants to know about Jason Fletcher, right? So can you share something from your career experience that would be helpful for those looking to grow their career in either technology or entrepreneurship, for that matter?
Sure. I can share a few. First of all, I would say keep learning. This is so important, especially in technology where things change so fast. This learning shouldn't really be limited to just a job or career. Have a hobby, learn to paint, play the guitar, learn how airplanes work. Having balance in your life and a breadth of interests and knowledge help in so many ways. I once got a job not based on my skills, but because I was spending time at home building laser tag guns with my son. Another thing is, remember that failure is okay. We often learn more from our failures than we do our successes. It's better to try and fail than not try at all. I think we often get bogged down because we don't know if we can do something or not. Just get out there and try. What's the worst that can happen? And you might just surprise yourself. And lastly, I would say that most importantly are relationships. Find good mentors, not just people who are successful in business, because there's lots of ways to be successful, but find mentors who share your values and vision, who've walked where you want to be. And mentors have been so important in my life, and I wouldn't be where I am without them. Most importantly, the relationships that are the most important are with your family and those closest to you. Never neglect those relationships for any amount of success. For a couple of years of my career, I was traveling 3 to 5 days for every week of the year. And while the airline perks were nice, it didn't take me long to realize that no success in business was worth failing to be there for my wife and kids. So I scaled back my travel, and we've been much happier for it.
That's awesome. Thanks for sharing that, Jason. We really appreciate it. That's some great nuggets of wisdom for this global audience. So thanks again. And Jason, it was a pleasure having you on today. I look forward to speaking with you real soon.
Thank you so much, Brian. It was a pleasure.
Bye for now.